The notice of understanding and intent is one of the most powerful things I have ever seen, because what it is essentially is an invitation under the rule of law to discuss and negotiate. When I first made mine, I wanted to kick the shit out of the government, educate people at the same time. So I made a great big one. I was living with a guy by the name of Clint Mitchell. Clint was looking at this and he just couldn't wrap his head around it. And he wanted to make his own claim of right and his own notice of understanding. And folks, a little bit of advice, make sure it's your own understanding. And you can't just copy and paste someone else's, and then when they come to you and test you and say, well, this says Canada's common law jurisdiction. Do you know what that means? No, but Rob said it. Guess what? That's my understanding, not yours. So Clint was struggling, trying to figure out the best claim of right. So I told him, go to your bedroom, relax, do your meditation, figure out what's in your heart, come back, tell me what that is. He came back half an hour later, the guy was giddy. I looked at his claim of right, I almost broke into tears. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen, and it reflected him so perfectly. He had just written it out. It took him like 4 minutes to write it out once he realized this truth. It said, I've looked in my heart, and I saw that love is my law. I've looked at your words, I could not find love anywhere. I can only conclude your words are not my law. I'm going to follow my law, and I claim the right to do so. He sent that off, hasn't heard from any government agency since. How do you argue with that? So your claim of right can be as big or as small as you want. Okay, where are we? Okay. Now, in order for us to find our remedy, we can write letters, we can go out on the street, we can do all sorts of things. We can toilet paper the Premier's house. It's not going to help us. What we need are actual courts within which we can bring action, and the people out there who are cops, who are government agents, who are operating the existing courts, they can be corrected and brought into line so that they do what we tell them to. The fact is, though, in order for them to do what we tell them to, we have to be in a position where we can tell them to do something, and you can't do that if you've been submitting application and registering. You come across from a legal perspective as a child of the province. Essentially, legally speaking, they're looking at you like a ward of the state because you have abandoned all your rights, and then you beg them for some remedy. This is how they get you. I had quite a trip trying to get out here, I gotta tell you. I wanted to fly WestJet. When I got there, they said, I get to the counter, they said, oh, do you have a problem with your identification? I said, no, I've used it before. Oh, well, there's a problem here. And I look on the screen, and it says, Transport Canada knows who this individual is, states that he is not, that he is subject to the regulations, he cannot fly without government-issued ID. So they wouldn't let me on the plane. I started looking into it. Who here has heard of the specified persons list? Have you the no-fly list?
Oh, no.
If your name is on this list, they can stop you from flying. What they do is they revoke your permission to fly. Now, if a party has the power to revoke your permission to fly and thus ground you, doesn't this mean when you are flying, you're doing it under their permission? Used to be, we had a right to fly. We had a right to travel within the country. You did not need anyone's permission to do so. You could do so plane, trains, automobile, any way. We all had that right. That right still exists. When you look at their statute, oh, it's so sneaky. They say, now if you're traveling internationally, it states that the air carrier must see a passport. When you're flying domestically, it states the airline must ask to see government-issued identification. If they get that government-issued identification, then they compare it to the list, and if there's a match on the list, they call Transport Canada and see whether or not your permission to fly has been revoked. But here's the thing. You can't get on that list as a specified person unless you exist as a person in their framework, and that doesn't exist unless you go get government-issued identification. Their power to stop you is based on that, and that's why I don't like what they're doing. They are using what is in essence extortion to convert our rights into permissions privileges that rely on permissions, and right now they give the permission very, very, very freely, so it just seems like a right. But you watch, once everyone's operating in this manner, they start closing down the permission until you're going to need it to leave your house. This is the tool that they're using, and I don't like it because A, it pisses me off. This is my country. I was willing to stand for it for 4 years. My dad during World War II, he was willing to stand for it. I think these are our rights, and I see how they're doing it. If what they're doing it, here's the problem with it. They want government-issued identification. I have identification which has been acknowledged by the government before. That should be good enough. You could get identification created yourself and then certified by the government, still not good enough. They want it issued to you from them. Why? There's only one reason. If you are ever in a contract where something is issued to you, you are either in an employment contract or a trust relationship. It's the only way it ever happens. I was in the Army. I had uniforms issued to me. It wouldn't happen if I wasn't in the Army. Cops have guns issued to them because they're cops. If anyone issues you something, they are in the position of authority over you all the time. They want to be in a position where they can say, you are in possession of something issued by me because now I'm in charge of you. And that is not the way Canada is supposed to work, is it? No. I say no. And you look at this, that breaks my heart when I think of what this country has come to. When we look at all the sacrifices people have made, they fought, they killed, they died so that we would have these rights. Always. And now we've got bureaucrats telling us that we have to beg them for permission to engage in the action that these people died so that we wouldn't have to ask them did. I want to go kick some ass. You know, the problem is some people after they meet me, they think I'm kind of arrogant. I think they're lucky I talk to them. Because actually, I don't think I'm arrogant. I just think I'm extraordinary. And I don't think I'm better than anyone else. Honestly, I don't. I just think you're a bit blind to how extraordinary you all are as well. I believe I am kind of divine. Not that well, the way I saw it, once I was in a park, and I was just laying there, and the sun was on me, I just smoked a nice fatty, I was in a very chill place, eh? And I'm digging my toes into the earth, and I felt a connection between the earth and the sun with me right in there. I felt like I'm the Trinity. It's the sun, me, and the earth, and I felt really connected. And these guys came by, they stopped, they were in my sun, and I was like, hey guys, would you mind moving in? No problem, they moved. And right there I thought to myself, what if they had said no? What right would they have to block my sun? What if they came and said, take your toes out of the earth? You can't do that. No one has that power. Once you're in a position where you realize your own divine self, you accept that you are, in fact, dudes, what I realize is this. Look at the size of the universe. Look how big you are. Look how long the universe is going to be here. Look how long you're going to be here. Do you really have time to pay anyone anything? Screw that, man. We are laughing, dancing stardust made incarnate, and we don't owe anyone squat. And if they want to get it, they can come and try. Now the secret to what I found, the whole game, when I was looking at it, I spent a lot of time studying this stuff. And it seemed to me there's one big game that they all play. And I call it look here, not there. It doesn't matter what the here is that they want you to look at. They might call it the Bible, the Torah, the Talmud, the criminal code. They might call it the newspaper. It doesn't matter. They all want you to look here. Look here, look here, look here, look here. And the reason is they don't want you looking there. And the there is your own heart. You start looking into your own heart, you're going to find something kind of amazing. And that's kind of amazing thing is your own divine nature. Once you grasp onto that, these regulations, dude, they become ludicrously laughable. Someone's going to come up and tell you this, you look at them, really? Okay, bye. They just back right off. Now I've told people, and some people don't like when I tell them, look, you got to look into yourself. They say, don't tell me to look into myself. I'm not a freaking hippie. Just give me the words, tell me what they mean so I can go pay off my mortgage. It doesn't work like that.